Hi everyone, Marcus from uTu here. Thanks for joining. Here, going to take a quick perspective on tracking dialogues within Conversant. So, as the conversations unfold across different channels with your users, making sure you're being able to extract all the intelligence that it takes to understand what happens and grow those conversations. So, kind of the objectives of this. Just going to start with the premise that if you're not measuring, you can't be improving your dialogues, period. Looking at the conversation tree, whether IFTY or otherwise, and how you can map that to figure out what are the key milestones you need to be tracking. Being able to structure the dialogues both from what your bot and the user are contributing, and then flagging those milestone type of outcomes. So as a starting point, thinking about what we learned and what worked really well back in the age of websites, being able to heat map and understand on a given page, where people are engaging, what is the flow through, what does the funnel of conversion look like. What we're trying to aim towards is in a conversant is be able to recreate that same type of insight. Where are people spending the most time? Where are they extracting the most value, which is reflected where they spend their time. But when starting into looking at Conversant, it can be like discovering a new world, which isn't flat, it is round. So there's a lot of similarities in a Conversant dialogue if you can figure out how to construct and visualize the Conversant experience, much like it had been with a website, like with a sitemap. So in some of our prior analogies using a very simple IFTY tree on a news retrieval service that post a given action, here on these dots, the idea is flagging points in the dialogue that represent a natural milestone or key event to be mapped. So the idea here is when you start thinking about your dialogue trees, it's also you want to be flagging them for where are the critical outcomes that you want to figure out. Did the user experience reach there? Did they get here? Can we beacon and fire that key event? And also then, another important concept is when you go through is mapping the dialogue, being able to see both sides of the equation. So it's not only what does the user say into the bot, but being able to see in context how the bot responded back. So being able to kind of visualize the two-sided conversation is critical. And to re-emphasize the idea, when you sit down and think about, your Conversant dialogue, going back to some of the earlier concepts on the idea of kind of the conversation mapping and the scripting of it, absolutely should have a visual about what are the key milestones along that kind of journey to the summit, if you will, that we really need to inform what happened with the dialogue. All right, so just to set a context or why the Conversant tracking is such an important ingredient to your overall bot longevity, the ability to improve it, the quality of the dialogue, that tracking needs to be part of your paradigm. So to connect with us for more information, resources, new ideas, join the community at betterbots.utu.ai or come sign up for the platform at utu.ai. Thanks.